Hello everyone, welcome to Mah Ekonde YouTube channel, and we are here to inspire your parenting. So today is a special day, as you all know, and we are talking today more about males, more about raising boys, and as the topic says, raising boys differently. And we are pleased, we are so honored to have an amazing guest with us tonight. Okay, so just get ready, prepare your questions and this is going to be special. So she is Carol Muleta. I always like to add mommy to that. So she's mommy Carol Muleta. Okay, mommy Carol Muleta. So I hope I pronounced that correctly. She's a parenting expert, and she's a six times best-selling author, a speaker, and a podcaster as well. So we are so pleased to have you, Mommy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hello, Mama Carol. I hope you can get me.
Oh, I
You are
hear you.
especially welcome to this edition.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
All right. Thank you so much. We are the ones that are so honored. And like the topic says, that we need to raise boys differently from the way we raise girls. It is true that both genders are important and there are some similarities. But I mean, most of the comment that I got was that it's actually true because we need to raise boys differently because being a boy mom, you can actually change society by the way you raise your boy child. And I particularly have a girl and a boy child, so I might easily fall in the in the temptation or to raise them the same way. So I mean, our number one question is how exactly should we raise boys differently? What are the different areas, the different steps, that we need to actually distinguish that okay, this is a male, this is a man.
Well, first of all, let me say that it's very important that we meet children where they are, first of all. And so we've got to recognize that all of us, girls and boys, come into this world with different temperaments and ways of being. And they don't always align with typical male or female stereotypes or ways that we like to look at them. Still, uh, because of testosterone and the differences in hormone balances between males and females, uh, there are some differences in behavior. For even in the womb, as children are formed, as babies are formed and becoming male or female, there's an increase in testosterone in the womb for the boys. And also, there's also what they call, some doctors have called a mini puberty phase, like in the first 6 months of life, that where boys get more testosterone, and that can account for some differences in how boys feel, think, and act. And so that's probably what the differences that we often see. But I just want to be careful that we don't decide that boys should act a certain way and girls should act a certain way without recognizing the child that we have in front of us. And so what that difference, that hormonal difference can look like in terms of behavior with young children in particular is that more physical behavior. They even engage with mobile toys and other things differently than girls might. And also young girls, little girls are more likely to be socially interactive in their play, and very often I don't have girls, but very often I hear moms say that their daughters are often a little more articulate, use language a little better to express themselves and to get what they want uh, than maybe their boy children. So those are some of the early differences that we might see.
All right. Thank you so much, Mommy Carol. Thank you so much. It's true that I yes. Okay. So I'm actually having an issue with my PC, but it's fine. I can get you. And I somehow missed some of the things that you mentioned. But I'm so glad that my audiences are telling me that okay, that's actually getting you correctly. So yes, I'm going to move on to the next aspect, the next question. You know that parents in particular, right, have asked me when I put this particular program outside. So at the level of psychological development, at the level of mental development, is it the same as for the female?
Well, a lot of it has to do with how they, uh, again, because of uh, because of the testosterone and the way that works with them, they may not they may process their feelings and what they're thinking very differently.
All right, thank
They
you so
and so
much,
that's
Mommy Carol.
we really
Much.
have
It's
to
so
be
much.
more, careful to encourage them
All
to
right, thank
articulate
you so much,
themselves and
Mommy
show them
Carol.
things. We really
Okay,
have to
thank
be more, careful to encourage them
All right,
and
we really
because
have
sometimes
to
they are not as open. They don't feel as comfortable being open and honest about some of their communication, and so we have to let them know that it's okay to feel vulnerable and to use their words and not as much their actions, their anger to to get their points across, like that there is another way to do that. And then, of course, once we bring our boys into society, because we have these expectations and stereotypes about the way they should act, they kind of fall into these patterns, and so we have to recognize a lot of the things that they are concerned about.
Oh, all right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that response. And I can really get parents already telling me that okay, that you're actually getting it. And for some, a parent asked me that the question. You know, one time I had an event actually on LinkedIn, and a parent gave an example that when when it comes to play, when it comes to play, okay, when the girl child is playing and the boy child is playing, normally the boy child plays more and will play dangerous plays more than the girl child. And he was asking actually that should we let the boy child explore more, in that aspect, to expose them, to taking bold steps, to doing things that will push them further than the girl child, when it comes to physical activity and responsibilities as well.
So yes, we definitely noticed as a mom of twin sons, there were many times when they were playing and climbing on furniture and climbing on top of my car, doing these things. I often thought, wow, I can't imagine that little girls would be doing some of these things that they do. But here's the thing: we have to, when they are playing rough, we have to make sure that they understand the impact of their actions. That we have to remind them that someone can be hurt by some of the physical play. At the same time, though, because of their physiological makeup and what's going on internally with them, we do have to give them opportunities. We have to create safe spaces for them to run around, for them to play, to be physical. I mean, we've got to let them have those moments. It's not only good for them, physically, they're getting exercise and all of that, but it's emotionally, and it really validates who they are and what they're kind of wired to do. So we have to show them that in some circumstances, rough play, physical activity is okay. And then in other circumstances, it's not.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. And it actually helps a lot as well because men are the defenders. They are the ones that can protect their sibling, their sister, and they actually need to show forth some of their physical strength and their physical charisma as well. You know, um, Most of the comments that I got, about this topic was that in our society today, especially our African society, they show that men are the ones who are in leadership the most, and there are a lot of criticism concerning the leadership, and we are trying like to trace if it is if it can be rooted in their parenting, if they know that they are leaders, okay, who are men, all right, and let's say they fit in one area or the other to defend women, to defend families, and to actually hold those values, that build up society. Now, is there a way we can correct this? Is there a way that we can correct, um, men who are leaders, okay, and who don't really have those values of 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 men who are responsible, of men who have values of not corrupting, of not cheating, and of protecting families, of protecting loved ones, and valorizing, the well-being of everyone as well.
I guess I'm not sure. You were breaking up a little bit, so I'm not sure I understand the full question. Are you talking about how to
Okay.
prepare boys to be leaders, or to be respectful of women and their capabilities of being leaders as well? I'm not sure. I didn't really hear all of the question. It was breaking up a bit.
All right. I was trying to say that, there are men, okay, who are already in leadership and they take advantage, of let me say, of the softness, of the female gender, or of children, or of vulnerable people, and they take advantage of that actually. Some go to the extent of, there's the cases of rape, the cases of taking advantage, of people who are in lower authority, just because they are men, they're up there, they're the ones with authority, they're the ones who are leading, and when what they say counts, and no other person can can argue or deny or give a contrary view to what they say.
So it sounds like, I think what you have asked is how to parent boys to keep them from misusing their power as men for such acts as rape or taking advantage of vulnerable people. And certainly that does begin at home. I think parents very it's very important for parents to model compassion, good control of their emotions, social and emotional regulation at home. And it's really best to start as children so that they can see that they should use any power that they have, any talent that they have, any strength that they have for good. And acknowledge when they do that in your home, when they are being helpful in the home, when they are being compassionate or kind to their siblings or to their friends. You point that out. And then when there's behavior that misbehavior that is not appropriate, that is harmful for other people, there needs to be instruction and guidance and consequences for that so that that behavior is not rewarded. And then some of the behaviors, some of the nuisance behaviors that children, that boys might do, and really indeed any children might do, you don't give a lot of attention to those, especially if they are not or might threaten to others. But and then also you need to recognize that if your child, your son, has repeated inappropriate behavior or behavior that's really disturbing, and your connection with him, instruction with him, and training is not getting through, then it really might be a time to seek some professional help. There may be some stress or some anxiety that he's experiencing that he's not able to articulate, and you might want to get help professionally to help him to express and
Oh my god, so sorry about that. My sister is having like a tantrum. Okay, so yeah, her dad is taking care of her right now. So yeah, thank you so much for what you mentioned. I so much love it because actually it begins in the home, and the way we help our boy children, control their emotions in the home, control their anger, the way they handle their siblings. It's important for us to note down all of this and to actually help the boy child sail through. Yeah, yeah. One tell that please, tell that please, you give you. Tell the please. Go now. All right, so yeah, I so much love the fact that you mentioned that because that is the area where we need to play our role as parents, looking at those boy children, the way they handle their emotions in the house, the way they treat their siblings. And if they are always having fights with their siblings in the house, how much more of with other people around. So it's actually very important for us to actually look at that at a deeper sense with our parenting. So thank you so much for that, and it's actually a very powerful point. Mommy Carol, we always tell, yes, we always tell men, we always tell boy children to be a man, to but to observe, to behave. Is that the right approach?
always telling them to just behave. By that, are you saying, are we asking them to calm down or stop being so physical? Is that what you mean? Is that what you're talking about? Are you mean where we're asking them to not be very physical or not be aggressive? Is that what you mean where by telling them to behave? Is that what you're talking about? Are you mean where we're asking them to not be very physical or not be aggressive? Is that what you mean where by telling them to behave?
No, what I'm actually want to emphasize the fact that we tell boys to actually be men. That is to bottle up all their emotions within, not to cry. For example,
Oh,
they should not cry, they should not show emotion, they should not show weakness in front of people because they have to be that physical strength or that manhood that is required of them.
no, we have to absolutely uh, provide a space for them to express their feelings and to encourage that and to check in with them, especially when you notice maybe because of this feeling that they have to live up to a certain example where they're not speaking, they're withholding their emotions and just really closed off. That's the time we really gotta make connections with them and really ask questions to really get a feel for where their hearts and their heads are and make it okay for them to share when they're disappointed, when they're sad, when they're afraid. If they can learn how to do that at home, uh, then they can build the courage to be comfortable expressing their emotions and protecting their emotional self out in the world. You have to make it okay at home for them to be able to communicate these feelings by all means. And the father in the home should very much be a part of this because, that's who he's looking up to, his father or father figure in the home. The father needs to demonstrate that as well about the idea of being open and honest and communicating. And honestly, dinner table can be a wonderful place for that. And it doesn't have to always mean that you're talking about serious things, but make all of the children understand that you're open to their ideas, you're open to their opinions. There are no feelings are um, that are off limits. It's just a matter of what they do with the feelings, teach them how to act on their feelings in appropriate ways, but and not to be judgmental. Really be available for communication. I mean, because ultimately we want boys to understand that it can be very courageous to show your feelings, courageous to admit that sometimes you're uncertain, that you don't have the answers, that you're a little bit afraid of what's ahead, but you're going to move through it. That's really a very courageous act, and we need to start to teach that to our boys. We want boys to understand that it can be very courageous to show your feelings, courageous to admit that sometimes you're uncertain, that you don't have the answers, that you're a little bit afraid of what's ahead, but you're going to move through it. That's a very courageous act, and we need to start to teach that to our boys. We want boys to understand that it can be very courageous show your feelings, courageous to admit that sometimes you're uncertain, that you don't understand, that you're a little bit afraid of what's ahead, but you're going to move through it. That's a very courageous act, and we need to start to our feelings.
All right, thank you so much for that actually, and it is actually the proof that whoever whoever we marry as husbands, and whoever they become as dads in the future, men draw all their qualities and all their values from their parenthood. And I just feel like I just feel like I've discovered a secret. I mean that okay, that if my husband, for example, is behaving this way, I can actually trace it, to his parenting. And this brings me to another question, that is it can we say that every behavior, of a daddy or of a husband, you know, can be traced from his parenting? That is a consequence or is a result of his parenting. Or it could be that maybe he was raised well, but along the way things could have changed, and that's how he eventually changed as well. So is it that everything is linked to parenting, or things can change along the way?
Well, it's both. It can be the experience that children have in the home, that young boys have in the home. He can learn a lot from his father, uncles, and uncles that are in the family. But none of us learn
Learn a
every
lot
home.
from his father,
We
uncles,
encounter,
family.
we
But
encounter
none of
teachers,
us learn
people in the
a lot
community,
from.
coaches, if we play on sports teams, or uh, if we sing in a choir, our choir director, we are always coming in contact with people that add a little bit more to the picture as children are trying to interpret the world and figure out how to move in the world. So we pick up traits and we pick up lessons from people along. I would say the foundation is what happens in the home. So we need to be mindful of that, but recognize that children are going to pick up lessons and ideas from other people along the way. So we have to be careful about whose hands we put our children in, the schools that our children attend, the community activities they participate in, the sports teams they participate on. Be mindful of the adults that your children are going to be exposed to because they're going to learn from them too. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Well, I am enjoying this conversation. We'll wait for Ma to come back and talk about this because raising boys it can be different, but it's absolutely an adventure, just as it is with raising girls as well. And the best that we can do is really connect with them and make sure that they feel comfortable expressing their feelings, making sure that they understand that feelings are not right or wrong, but that they just are.
I'm so sorry, my network just broke. I mean, as I was saying, we I mean, that it's a really topic that, in my area where I am now. It's like hot topic that many parents really want to know, because they really want to correct so many things in the society that they see in men. And if you can provide solutions, to this this to provide solutions and add value, to our male children, then we're actually winning. We're actually winning in our parenting. So, when we thank you so much, can you give us your last words? Give us your last word before we round up this talk.
Well, what I will say for I do have a few tips for parents, especially for young children as well. So I can't say enough how important it is that parents be good role models of emotional and social regulation.
For I do have a few
Next,
tips for
it's
parents,
very
especially for
useful
young
for
children as
parents to
well.
have
So I can't say
healthy
enough how
daily
important it
routines
is that
for
parents
children
be good role
because that
models
provides
of
stability and security for them. Also, I did speak about it a little earlier, but give boys enough
young
time to
children
play.
for them.
Give them space, permission to be noisy, loud, boisterous. Up to them. They need to be able to express that aspect of themselves. Also, make sure that children get plenty of rest, especially boys. There's a saying, sleep tight and they'll act right. So make sure they get plenty of rest because that can also contribute to behavior, aggressive behavior, angry behavior, just unpleasant actions by our kids simply because they don't have enough rest. So that's something that you do have some control over, at least that you can provide a schedule, routine, as I said, and of course, a quiet, safe place for them to get that rest. So important. Also, recognize their appropriate behavior. Our children are doing a lot of things right, and a lot of times because it's just easier, we just don't make time to let them know when they've done something well. But we want to give attention to that because that really provides important reinforcement and gives them important information about how they should be behaving. So let's don't dwell on the correction all of the time. Correction needs to happen, but when you see something done right, be sure to recognize it. And I also, if there's repeated disturbing behaviors, like I said, it could point to something else that's going on. They may be stressed, they may be fearful, and it would be very good for you to seek some professional help and give them some support if they need it. And communication is just so key. I mean, all young children struggle early on because they're feeling a lot of things and they don't always have the words for it. And that's where communication with you will really come in handy. I mean, give them words for the emotions they're feeling. Give them, teach them to recognize when they're afraid, because there's certain things that happen in our bodies when we're afraid. Help them to recognize that, um, and then give them tools and strategies, language to express that. And I think that behavior will really improve and actually be more productive and useful, not only for themselves but for the people around them.
Thank you so much, Monica, for being live with us in this event. Thank you so much. We are so grateful. The community of the gift handler are so grateful, and thank
Uh,
you so much for really making us to put an eye on those things so that we as parents we should be actually parenting. We should consciously parent our children and focus on this point, rather than always criticizing and yelling and shouting, but to actually be conscious parents who are actually picking out on this aspect that on these characters that our children are manifesting, and then now we seek to correct it early on because that is where it begins. Like Mommy Carol say, it begins with parenting, it begins in the home. So thank you very much, Mommy Carol.
um, I,
Please,
I do have a gift for your viewers, if that's okay. Can I share?
yeah.
I do have a gift for your viewers. If they can head over to bit.ly/bravehearts411, they can grab some tools for helping to raise resilient children.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I'll take the link directly, then I will forward it again.
And I can also drop the link in the comment section as well if you'd like.
Yes, yes, that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for everyone who joined. Monica on LinkedIn. Go ahead and follow her. Yeah, go ahead and follow her. Monica, I have two toddlers, and I was actually rushing, to come on this event, and I'm so glad that it was a success. So yeah, it's okay. Yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. And yeah, parents, she has. If I'm going to forward Okay, I'm going to forward the gift that she has offered to us. We are so glad, Mommy Carol. Thank you so much, for all the things that you shared. And we look forward again to have you in another edition.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we are finished. Yeah. As in now. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video to the end and hope you loved it. Okay, if you have questions, feel free to drop it in the comment section. And we are going to see you in our next video. I am Mah Ekonde, here to inspire your parenting. So follow us on LinkedIn especially, okay, and we got many in store for you. Only moms understand. Love you. Bye.